Next game we're talking about, Dalton, is number 22 SMU at Duke. 8 p.m. Eastern time game on ACC Network.
Who would have thought
Awesome
we were doing
game.
SMU and Duke
I
in
love
week
it.
9? You like that?
I love it. And listen, this is an important bar to clear for SMU to keep their ACC hopes alive. Right now, SMU is one of 4 teams in the ACC with a perfect conference record this year. Clemson, Miami, and Pittsburgh are the other 3 teams right now. Since Clemson and Miami are top 10 teams and they don't play each other in the regular season, it's more than possible that those 2 finish with an undefeated record in conference play. So the next 2 weeks for SMU are absolutely critical to keep up with Clemson and Miami and eventually force the conference championship participants to come down to tiebreakers. Honestly, that's what they should be hoping for right now. SMU plays Duke this week. Then they take on number 19 Pitt at home next weekend, which will be another huge game. Blue Devils, on the other side too, they're not dead either. They're 6-1 right now. The first 6-1 start for Duke in 9 years, and they have their own sights set on competing for a conference title, although their chances of doing that are a lot less likely. They have to play Miami next week as well. But still, these are 2 really, really good one-loss ACC teams that we have here, and both of them still have their hopes of an ACC title.
Well, you're getting hypothetical, but I mean, Duke, you know what? You pull this one off somehow. Miami's shown some vulnerability several times. You pull that one off somehow, and then you're in the driver's seat. So it's right in front of them. I'm not saying at all it's going to be easy. It's not going to be the highest percentage chance in the world, but you get this one at home, and then you just kind of see what happens 1 week at a time. And look, Duke, they're 6-1. They're playing good football. They have their brand of football that they play under Manny Diaz, but they're playing well.
Absolutely. So, Dolan, you have the SMU offense in this one with a quarterback and Kevin Jennings who's been really, really good lately.
That might be an understatement. My matchup that I have written down is literally Kevin Jennings versus Manny Diaz and his defensive coordinator, Jonathan Patke, because Kevin Jennings – okay, so let's rewind, okay? Earlier in the year, the first 3 weeks of the year, we were kind of getting on Rhett Lashley a little bit about rotating quarterbacks and your offense being out of rhythm. And Preston Stone was so good last year, but he's kind of trying to – and then they lost to BYU, and they just turned to Kevin Jennings, and
we didn't know BYU was good yet either.
Right, and that's at the time when we were like, oh, that's not a good loss. Now it looks like a pretty decent loss. Yeah. But you look at Kevin Jennings, and since he was just named the starter, they went with it. Right, the last 4 games, he's been not just very good, he's been unreal. What they've done, there are tangible changes to this offense from what they had last year, because he's a much different style of quarterback than Preston Stone. I don't think it's that he's so much better than Preston Stone, that Preston Stone couldn't come in there and win games, but it's different, and Jennings adds different dimensions with his mobility, with his athleticism. They run more read options, they run more naked bootlegs, and he can just improvise, scrambling. I think the biggest thing for me is everything he adds just on the move, right? He can still make vertical plays down the field. Let me go since week 4, since he was named the starter, okay? Leading the nation in passing grade, all right, at 92.3. Leading the nation in passing grade in 10-plus yard throws, 95.8. It's just silly. Second in the nation in passing grade under pressure. First against the blitz. First when moved off of his spot. He is an absolute problem. He is a guy that, look, Preston Stone, it was more run straight ahead, play action, throw it vertically from the pocket. He could move some, but not like this. Kevin Jennings is a legitimate problem as a dual threat. And I mean, when you talk about like what he did against Louisville, even a 50-yard rushing touchdown, in the design run game, in the bootleg game, it could be just moving out as a scrambler. He is such a good athlete, and he's got a cannon for an arm. He just has everything you want in a dual-threat quarterback in a wide-open offense like this. I'm just curious to see how in the world Manny Diaz is going to handle this, because, we showed it right there. Since he's been the starter, best quarterback in the country against the blitz, Manny Diaz's defense, like he's a blitzer, right? They blitz, the Duke Blue Devils blitz at the 9th highest rate in the Power 5, and honestly, I thought it'd be higher than that. 9th almost feels low for as much as he does it, but can you do that? Can you come after him? Because these games that I'm watching Kevin Jennings, he is the best athlete on the field. If he breaks the pocket, I'd start praying, because he is a problem. And he can make big throws. He's got a really good arm. I got to love against Louisville. First play of the game, what did he do? Ripped the ball right down the seam of the Louisville defense and got him going. I mean, he can do everything right now. And Rhett Lashley, out to any critics of what was going on and him turning to Jennings, they're quiet now, including us, because Kevin Jennings is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in college football.
He's balling right now. Yeah, we were very wrong about saying, oh man, this should not be doing this. Preston Stone should be the starter, because Preston Stone, to why we said that, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the country last year. But Kevin Jennings has been outstanding for them this year as well. My matchup to watch on the other side of the ball when Duke has the ball is SMU's pass rush against Duke's offensive line, which should be a heavyweight battle in the trenches. And Dolan, even after losing 2 draft picks, and Graham Barton, who was a first-round pick, and Jacob Monk, Duke's offensive line has been outstanding at protecting Malik Murphy this year. In fact, Duke has the lowest pressure rate allowed in college football at 16.9%. They've only surrendered 9 sacks or hits so far this year. The only team in the country who has fewer than that is Army, who passes the ball on like 10% of their plays. So really, for teams that actually throw the ball, SMU is one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country, at preventing sacks or hits. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, SMU is 4th in the nation with a 42.3% pressure rate, and they're 21st in pass rushing grade. So you're talking about the lowest pressure rate in college football allowed in Duke, the 4th best pressure rate in SMU as well. Should be a heavyweight battle, and not only that, this matchup becomes even more critical for determining the winner of this game because Malik Murphy has been pretty poor under pressure this year. He's 99th among all quarterbacks in the country with a 40.8 PFF grade under pressure. His grade when he's kept clean nearly doubles. He's a 79.8 grade when he's kept clean. So he often struggles with accuracy, and that's even amplified even more when defenders are breathing down his neck. So Duke has to keep Malik Murphy upright in this game, or else I think their offense can have a lot of trouble moving the ball.
You know the Mustangs have that big monster up front, Elijah Roberts.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite players in the country, and he's a serious problem, especially as a power rusher. I mean, it's going to be a fun matchup to watch because SMU, they can really rush the passer, and Duke's O-line's been elite for sure.
Absolutely. So Dolan, ultimately, in what is a really big ACC game, who ends up winning it?
The more I'm watching SMU get in rhythm with Kevin Jennings, the more I like them in this game. I have SMU 31-20. One of the things that does make me a little bit weary is we just got news that their star tight end RJ Maryland is done for the season with a torn ACL, which is huge. When you talk about I would argue he was their best receiving threat, their most consistent receiving threat. That's a big loss. I think they can get through a game like this, but that might really affect their ACC title chances, losing Maryland for the whole season. But in this game, I think there's a couple things that happen here. One, it starts in the run game. Okay, Duke, if they're going to try to win this game, they're going to have to stop the run. But Kevin Jennings and Brashard Smith in the backfield. We didn't even mention Brashard Smith yet. He's had a fantastic season. He's terrific both in the run and pass game. I think SMU's going to get in their rhythm enough. I think Kevin, the more I watched Kevin Jennings, I was like, whoa, this guy's a problem. This is a real problem. I'm curious to see how Manny Diaz handles this, but it may not matter. I have it 31-20. I could see a road where SMU actually does run away with this game. I think Duke has to keep this within a certain low score. I think if this game gets above about 21-24 points, I think Duke's got a real problem. If SMU can pick up the pace and get Kevin Jennings' legs going early, I think Duke has a real problem here.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going with SMU as well, even with the RJ Maryland news. 27-23. I think that both defenses hold the opposing passing games in check for the most part, but Kevin Jennings is a really, really good player, and he does just enough to lead the Mustangs to a major victory on the road and significantly helps SMU's hopes of playing for an ACC championship. 27-23, I have SMU beating Duke.